Should be good.
Awesome.
All right.
Oh, here, I can jump in. This is a meeting of the Node.js tooling working group live on YouTube. If you would like to get involved, you can find us on github.com/nodejs/tooling. And we basically work on features around tooling related stuff, which is a broad topic. It can be test related, can be file system operations, but essentially things that end up being command line operations generally. So I guess we can start through the agenda. Let's see here. I have something that's maybe more of an announcement I will share.
Can you share the link to the agenda?
Yes. Putting it in our chat here. 1 second. Oh, Darcy beat me to it. This isn't on the agenda, but I'll throw it in as announcements. If I can actually find it. Ah, here we are. I found it. A little while ago, we landed the crypto.random UID in Node.js so that you can create a v4 UID in Node. And James Snell was basing this somewhat on the spec I've been working on, but it's getting pretty good momentum now. And we just landed it in Chromium behind a flag. So I'm excited about that. So,
Cool. I didn't realize that was in Node already.
Yeah, maybe we'll make a bit more noise about it when we actually get the spec over the finish line, because we can say that Node.js already has it and Chrome will have it. And yeah, here, I'll link to the spec too.
Do you know which version of Node that's available in or starting in?
I think it starts in Node 15, and I don't even know if it was backported to 14. So these sorts of things will take a few years before it's widely available, but
that's great.
Moving the stuff forward, yeah.
Yeah, it's another one of those packages that I end up pulling in like every service I do.
Yeah, that's good. I should put that in the argument I'm having about whether or not it's necessary to be a one-line method. Like, it's only 20 lines of code. Why don't you just copy that 20 lines of code everywhere? I think it's not everyone knows that 20 lines of code, and if you screw it up, you can have colliding UIDs, which is bad for you. So that's my argument.
Yeah,
it's only 20 lines of code. Yeah,
package on npm that we use, like I said, like in pretty much every single service.
So this is a hammer I understand this process better now. This is a hammer we can occasionally use if we see something that we think is so universally useful to tooling. We'd like it to be in both Node and the web context. We can occasionally work through working groups and try to get it up leveled even into like W3C. So I feel like a lot of our stuff's file system related, so that doesn't always make sense, but sometimes it makes sense. Okay, sorry, I shoved that on the agenda, so I'm gonna move into the actual agenda now. Sort out tooling team member list. Joe, where does this stand?
I don't think anything has happened here. Am I on mute? No, I'm not. Okay, good. I pinged Chris about this, and I think I even asked Michael about it. Oh, somebody said, Ben, maybe while we're here, can you look and see if you're not listed as a maintainer, but you may have access? I don't know.
I don't see like an option to modify anyone. I'm looking right now.
Okay.
Let me go to Teams. It kind of does. I don't think I do. It looks like unless I have access at like the node level. Let me try that. I don't think I'm a high enough permission level on the node project.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't look like I am.
I feel like Michael or somebody from TSE should be able to
Yeah.
to change this over.
Yeah, I am not. I think if I was a maintainer, I could do it, but maybe we should just get a couple of us made maintainers.
Yeah, I will ping Michael in this issue here in a comment and ask if we can make a couple of folks maintainers. Ben, Roy, Ian, who?
Ian, not me. I don't want that.
Too much responsibility.
We're talking about the team on GitHub, right? Not the tooling repo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we're a maintainer of the tooling repo, I wonder if we can modify the team. I don't know how the permission model works. Darcy should know. He works at GitHub.
I don't think so, because I can make changes to the repo access, but it does not look like I can do anything with the team.
Okay. Well,
so
maybe we should just. Oh, sorry, Darcy.
I was just going to say there is like a unspecified set of maintainers on here, so it looks like Tierney and Matteo could also support us on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like if you actually sort by role for maintainer, it's not just Chris actually, based on the access and permissions.
Oh yeah, weird. It only shows the label next to him, but
Is that a bug or a feature, Darcy?
I can't say.
Okay. All right, let me, I'll just ping Tierney before creating a, or I can ask Tierney or Michael to make you two maintainers, or you three, or Ben, Roy, and Ian.
sure.
Works for me. Feel free to toss yourself on there too, Joe, if you're so inclined.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Again, I'll specify I would like to be opted out of that responsibility. Because eventually somebody will ask to update that list, and I can pleasantly say that I don't have access.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Right.
Moving the meeting time is the next agenda item. This
Yeah,
is the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I think maybe I created this issue. I'm on the fence. Like whatever, it seems to be working, so I don't care.
Our two East Coast folks, what do you say? We're on the call usually.
So what was the time? I personally, was there a suggested time other than
I
this,
think because you and Roy had something move, so maybe you were open at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Or I don't know. Make sure I'm clear about what time zone you're in.
We discussed was like 3 hours earlier than it currently is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I dictate Roy's schedule most often. He can speak up and say otherwise. Other than lunchtime is usually blocked out around noon for us, and that would be I think 9 a.m. for you folks. So yeah, if you're okay with 10 a.m. on the Pacific time, that would be 1 p.m. Eastern time for us. Would totally work. I think that there used to be a conflict. Yeah.
Okay. Would that be preferable for you?
I don't mind this time slot. I'm not sure how Roy feels.
They muted Roy. Maybe he's stepped out first.
Yeah, no, it's same. Yeah, same for me. Works fine, both of them.
Well, let's just stay the course if no one's making a strong case for.
Yeah. Sounds good.
But if someone does come on who's East Coast time and wants to make a strong case, we should just be open to it in the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll drop
or
a comment.
someone. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Recursive copy.
Oh, that's me. No update for me for this. I was mentioning before the call that the last few weeks have been a bit chaotic for me with some flooding in my condo and being out of here for some time. So yeah, I've just been scrambling to get caught up at work. So no real progress on this for me right now.
No worries. What I was going to suggest was I would happily pair with this on you, and I'm feel like I'm reaching a stopping point on my random UID stuff. Hopefully,
I think we talked about that previously as well. Yeah, I'm definitely open for that.
I think what we should do next is reach out to that Manny fellow who we were referred to in the issue. Let me
Right.
find it here. They said that he implemented most of it for FS Extra. So I think here's the thing, like just for in terms of code providence, like if I would rather us not build this thing from scratch because I think it's a complicated problem.
Yeah.
But I usually like to have the buy-in and have talked with someone before we just lift code, even if it is MIT licensed, like just to, I think it's nicer to get them involved in the implementation. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. See if we can reach out to Manny. And so that's kind of an action item. I can take that on if you're still dealing with insurance and stuff, Ian.
Sure, if you don't mind reaching out to him, and then, yeah, let's set up a time when maybe you and I can take a crack at getting that ported into core.
Sounds good. Cool. So I'll just put that on here as an action item. The manager brought up with me, oh, I'll move that into new business, but I bet we'll talk about argument parsing for a while. So let's move through the other ones first. A better way to detect process exiting. This one I think was on me and I just have done no work on it. I also think it's worth keeping on the agenda though. If we're starting work on recursive copy though, I do not promise to do any work on this before our next meeting either. So I don't want to take any action items right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Even if you can help me kind of get the recursive copy stuff kicked off, maybe, and then maybe that'll free you up after that. Sounds
good. Source map v3 backport. Oh man, this hit a complete quagmire.
Uh-oh.
Let me see if I'm going to check right now to see if the quagmire is at all unblocked. Basically, we backported a change that shouldn't affect C++ at all, and it started triggering tons of test ASON issues, which I think tests for memory leaks, basically. Access outside of appropriate memory. Let me take a look here. Did I ever get approval to land? I've tried to flag a few people, but I don't have approval to land. I was basically asking to land without, I was asking for approval to land with that test breaking, and I haven't gotten it. All right, so I'm not really that comfortable. Maybe we have to wait until node 15, or maybe we're not backporting this to node 14 is what it's starting to look like. Or it's at least kind of tripped up right now. I've tried to, I can't reproduce running test ASON locally. Let me see if there's anything else. Well, I commented on the sanitizer issue to see if Mary had, no, I think it's just that everyone is really busy and I haven't gotten feedback from anyone on whether we can land without test as ASIN running. So what does this mean? We have source map support in node 12 and node 14 already. It just isn't the stable version that we landed on in node 15 and what will be 16. So
does that mean in node 14, it's the version where we get like the interleaved source or stack traces rather?
I believe that to be the case, yeah. We never quite got we're like 3 PRs behind on being able to merge that. So I'm not gonna lie, I got a little frustrated because the test is completely incomprehensible and it's unreproducible. So if someone gives me the thumbs up to land without our memory checking passing, I can start squashing them. I could try to prod someone again. How many more Node 14 releases do we have? Like quite a few, right? Because it's LTS for a long time. So I guess it's not like we need to get this in before Node 16 or something.
Right. It's in Node 16 already, right?
Yeah, I think it's just going to become progressively more of a pain in the butt to land because we're like 4 patches behind and it's not landing very cleanly. So, oop, what did Darcy just link?
I was just topping up on what Joe sent, which is like the release repo has at least a schedule for 14x releases. So I'm not sure if that's all of them. Roy should know this. Just in terms of you asking that question, like how many more releases are there? There's probably a number.
I'm at the point of just needing to nag people to see if I have approval to land without that test passing.
Yeah, no, but there's not a fixed number of releases as long as it's maintained. Like we may cut as many patches it may take.
I do not think the test is doing what it's supposed to do right now, because it's like really, it seems like it's a Heisenberg basically. It makes no sense that it's being set off by what it's setting it off. It also concerns me because it's not happening in Node 15 though. So it's a nasty bug. So that's where we land. Maybe we have to wait until Node 16 to have that stable.
All right, so we'll see in the coming meetings.
Yeah, maybe I'll like go as far as sending an email to someone or something, because flagging people on a couple issues hasn't worked. So
yeah, Mary I think was had stuff going on and wasn't available for amount of time, and I think that they're back now. So maybe there's something.
Yeah, maybe give them another ping, or I'll give Richard Lau another ping as well, and give it one more go and see if we can get anyone. Because the problem is it doesn't happen when I build on. I even built on Linux as well just to see if it's like a Linux specific issue, and just have not managed to throw the same errors. So. I think test S is supposed to, in theory, be testing memory leaks in C. But like our JavaScript code can exercise C code paths, so it can cause appropriately be flagged. But I think usually your expectation would be you did something weird in C++ and this catches it. So not sure what's happening to us. All right, argument parsing is the next agenda item.
Yeah, I saw your comments, Ben, earlier today. So I need to spend some time with those. Where are they? So it's this other screen here.
Is that on that first PR that you put up?
Yeah, I'll drop a link in the chat here. And yeah, it was a very simple kind of start. I was looking through Chris's code and pulling some stuff over that implemented some of the things that are in the design doc there. And yeah, I just opened this PR to show people where I was and the things that I was doing. So if I was kind of on the wrong path, we could make adjustments. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I actually approved that PR because my thoughts were like, let's just merge this and then we can all start iterating on it. That might be more efficient than. I haven't looked at Ben's comments here though, but
mine were mostly recommendations, and it's like for like linting, because I hate ever having a code review talk about whether I need a semicolon or not.
Yep.
Just make that automatic. And I suggested test coverage because I think that's important for command line argument parser, because otherwise we'll catch parts of the parser we haven't actually exercised. So yeah, those don't need to land in that PR, or they could. They're probably like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Things sound great. But yeah, like I said, I'm kind of in favor of like, let's just merge it and just start chipping away at it.
That sounds good, and I think what you mentioned, Ben, makes sense. I can add the test coverage and the linting, um, and then maybe capture some of these things. Like I think you already got one of them in an issue, and just make sure we're kind of going through and getting things.
Yeah, the main one for me is I would rather be able to do -rf than have single dash arguments work. Like I feel like it almost always feels like I don't expect to be able to use a CLI and type in -foo and have it take that as the foo argument. I think that, so if the problem is the ambiguity between a single dash and a double dash, then I think it would be better to be able to go rm-rf than to go rm-foo, or sorry, rm-apple or something, like for a non single dash argument.
I agree. I'll let Darcy chime in if you have more, but I think we should implement short codes.
Yeah, so like the idea there is just that shorts can only be a single character. I think that's that's the rule that we have to enforce, and I hasn't in that initial document or README that we put together. I don't think that was explicitly outlined, and what that means in terms of also how that's configured is interesting then, because like, do we then throw, if you tried to provide a short option or alias that is multiple characters, right? Because essentially you're just passing a key in the case or a string in the case of how I think how we designed that. So
it makes sense to me to just have, if it's a single dash, then you break that up on single characters and send it back, respond back with short code keys, whatever you call it.
So then there are just always enabled. So that,
and then just and then just stop supporting like a single dash argument to get rid of the ambiguity.
Yeah.
So shorts then in the spec that was written could actually become aliases. Maybe.
Sure. Whatever the terminology is, I'm not.
So, well, it's just a way to essentially combine and say that these two things are the same. So if you've said with value foo, and there's a short, and you expect that the -f is actually supposed to map to foo, then you could then we should maybe define in the spec and in the option and support in the options for you to say alias f to foo, so that when those two things are seen together, they aren't individually understood. They clobber each other.
Yeah, or we just let the consumer sort that out. We just give it back to them with whatever they get. I don't know.
I feel like that's stuff we could talk even in more detail, like in this pull request that adds that feature, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to block on any of that stuff either. Like if we have to go rm-r-f to start, and I can't do rm-rf, like that's still an improvement over no argument parsing. So
yeah.
So
maybe I'll just make a quick issue to add. Are they called short codes? What are they called?
I feel like I've called them short option groups.
Short ops. Yeah.
Okay.
Short
I'll create an issue to add short ops to the design doc, and I'll try to implement that soon as well.
It sounds like something that's like an enhancement that we could add later on, instead of blocking this PR.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see no reason to block that PR at all.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot easier to discuss this kind of thing, like if someone does put up a PR for it, and then we have something concrete to talk about.
So just to reiterate here, though, I did have short options like configurable in the initial draft of that, or the secondary draft. It's just that what we're talking about now, in this original sort of draft of that spec, it would be possible to essentially have multiple character shorts, which wouldn't make sense for what we're talking about, which is like combining, allowing for combined shorts. So before you could have done -rf, and that could be associated with the option or argument recursive force dash force, right? Like it wasn't separated, right? So I think this strategy, what we're talking about right now, makes a lot of sense. It's just like shorts should always be single characters. The way that you would map a short to another like argument or another option would be to change to create some sort of like ability to define aliases. I think that would be better. So that you could, so now dash F, today dash F would be the exact same thing as dash F.
Yeah, and I think like that's what I'm advocating is that that dash F would be, well, I think dash F would work in isolation, but dash foo would not work. Like dash foo would not set the variable foo to something. That's what I'm saying. I think it would make more sense for dash foo to be FOO or something. That's what makes sense. I think we could talk about it in an issue too, but what else?
We could also just make it so that it's that the return. We could also say that the return just gives you an array of shorts.
Yeah, in practice, I don't think you're usually going to have a right hand value for shorts. Like I can't think of something where you'd be like dash RF equals some file name or something, because like that's weird. Like usually it's like shorts are usually like a bunch of Boolean flags where you're like saying, turn on these 4 things while I do a get command, or turn on these 3 things while I do a curl command or something. Yeah.
There's a couple options that we can noodle on. But yeah, that's one option, is that what's returned also has a shorts array. But I think it's like obviously then tougher because you're gonna have to still like put those 2 things together. And I thought the design of using like with value and multiples and short, really that kind of configuration gave you a really nice like standardized like output. So yeah,
we could start there. I just might still not allow single dash arguments, just so you're open to doing, it's just so you haven't created an ambiguity if you decide you want to do multi-character shorts in the future. So I would just like skip that feature for now, which I think was mentioned in the README. And
so yeah, we're gonna get pushed back by an individual that I think doesn't see the value here, which is true or not, and we don't have to be subservient to a single opinion, but doesn't see the value if we don't go a little bit further and have a little bit more opinions in our argument parser. Yeah, and I would lean on also like you, Ben, your opinion of if this is useful or not. Like, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like, I think it's a kind of a bug in the argument parser for, maybe we just need to update the fact too, because I don't think it jumped out at me in the FAQ that we were doing single dash, or I missed whichever one it was. Here, I'm looking for one specific line in here. Okay, is dash foo the same as dash dash foo? The answer is yes. I feel like I would expect, a lot of people would expect, let me edit that. This is from the FAQ. I feel like a lot of people would expect that to be like dash FOO or dash FO if it was an option group. And I don't know, like we don't have to support option groups out of the gate, but I don't see why someone can't just type double dash foo. Like to me, like it's pretty common that a command line argument parser won't support dash foo, if you know what I mean. So if we just didn't support that, then we've eliminated a chance for an ambiguity. And in the future, if we decide we want to do option groups, we can do option groups, right? So this is just kind of.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. And I'm also looking at the next FAQ, the dash 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 foo would be parsed as dash foo. Is that useful to tooling people? Like, would you want dash foo? Does that make sense?
Which line?
The second to last FAQ is dash 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 triple dash foo the same as double dash foo?
No.
But would someone really want that triple dash foo to be parsed as dash foo?
Oh, I get it.
But it's like a mistake. It's kind of that the problem is would protect you against making a mistake or for us to infer what you meant by, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's a no in that case. And then it should probably be a no then, as Ben's saying, then we should also just like not support short ops for now. So what that would then mean is like, well, what do we do when we see that? Like, do we just throw it out? Do we not parse it? Do we not give it back? Does it become a positional? I think we have to have an opinion on that one way or another. And yeah. So I would actually, I was going to say, like, we should actually try our best to support then short ops in a way, but just right now the design doesn't seem to like lend itself well to that, because I think we're kind of all agreeing they should only be single character. Like, that's an opinion we can make or agree or disagree on, that they only should be one character. So now it's about like, how do I map or how do I define that these are supported so that we can get them back in one of the three. And maybe we need to expand how many return values there are, but like, I feel like we could probably find a way to get short ops mapping back to either args values or positionals, which are the three return values. So it's all about just, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I think what I'm advocating in the short term is just like drop the dash foo support. Then we are open to extensibility in the future, and we don't have like an ambiguous. It's not a nightmare where we're like, we've told people dash foo will parse, and then, oh shoot, everyone wanted dash RF and we can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think that just protects us. Yeah.
Yeah, not to block on any work right now. Like, I want,
Yeah.
I just like Ian said, like Joe, like, feel free to, I think, merge this and we can continue to develop it. I would love to take a stab at just like maybe what that design looks like again for shorts then to try to clean that up. And I'll make an issue maybe just to keep this conversation going for short ups.
That'd be perfect.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I have literally no opinion about like the triple dash, because that's just weird. So like we can drop the additional dashes, or we can keep the dash. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's implementation detail. Yeah.
I think that's important to keep, right? I think it's just a mistake, right? So you're not going to accidentally parse that for somebody. Like, they're going to be like, what? I didn't pass that flag. Like, what happened there? And they're going to see the mistake and correct for it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I can see that. I can see that.
So, and that's a bit different than Joe's implementation, where I think he just eats as many dashes as he wants.
Yeah.
As we want. Yeah.
So I'm going to make a note to myself. I'll add the linting and the test coverage stuff, and I may address the eating the dashes bit, and then I'll ping you guys and look to merge it soon.
Cool. This is awesome.
Great. Yeah, it's not a lot yet, but as long as I'm in the right direction and then people can hack on it with me, that'd be great. Cool.
Thought a few minutes ago I had a new business. Oh yes, I have business that we took out of the agenda, but my boss was asking after it, which is fetch. I know Mateo is maybe looking at this at some point, but there's the
Indici fetch, right?
Yeah, the Indici people are Ethan Arrowwood, I think, is working on a fetch implementation built on top of Indici.
Oh, great. And so this is like unblocked work that's just happening now?
I don't know if I'd say it's unblocked, but it's things are happening.
What are we talking about? Sorry. Yeah, so I talked to Ethan a week or two ago. I don't think this Indici, wait, no, he has is this new? I think that he actually is not going to work on this and is going to focus more on doing it in Indici, if I remember correctly. I have some notes somewhere. But if we're talking about fetch, and sorry, I got distracted by a text message for a second there. I talked to James, and he actually gave a presentation at an event a couple weeks ago that I was involved in. And it sounds like, and correct me if somebody knows better than what I have here, but James is pretty focused on getting fetch done and trying to actually get it done this year. and trying to get maybe Nearform to even sponsor some folks to work on it. And, likely doing it in Undici. And, there's a lot of underlying work that needs to happen, and that he's kind of focused on that first. And then, with the hopes that Fetch can be kind of layered on top of that, or like, a spec-ish implementation of Fetch.
Awesome. I think that's like a huge step forward for the platform. So I think it was good to have that brought up with me. I'm glad Justin brought that up with me. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad that stuff's moving. So it doesn't feel like we need to swoop in unless we were asked to help in any regards.
Yeah, I was gonna, I'd mentioned that I'm interested in helping, but I wanted to focus on, parse args at a minimum, get that over the finish line, and then see what I can do there.
Yeah, for sure. I'd definitely be interested in helping, like in the, second half of the year or something, once we get this argument parsing stuff done. But yeah, it's cool that there's progress happening there. That is a big one.
Yeah, I think if I'm reading my notes correctly, Ethan said he's going to go back to the drawing board in terms of what he did in the Undici fetch. So I think like that specifically is not something that he's going to continue building on, but that they're working on it. Folks are working on it.
That's exciting. So you can evolve a platform over years and years and years. You don't need to completely throw it out because the whole community is terrible.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Might be channeling. I might be channeling something.
Boy.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of evolving things, so I was actually reading a Node book recently. Trying to find some good books like for my team and stuff on like TypeScript and Node. And yeah, I was reading like a new Node book, and the guy was using the makederp package. Like, no, that's built in now. But it definitely got me thinking more. I think I mentioned this last time about maybe contributing to the Node ESLint rules. So maybe that's something we can start to like lint on, like, hey, you don't need this package. You can just use makedir recursive instead.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'll be good.
That's an idea I feel like we should probably get on the agenda, actually, Ian, because that's a good idea, and I completely forgot
Yeah, sure.
we had it.
It's been on my mind for a while. So yeah, maybe it is good to put it on the agenda so we don't forget about it. Or I guess I could open an issue in the project, like in the tooling repo.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that right away here.
That makes sense. Anyone else have any?
Start, getting the word out about these things.
Yeah, I agree.
One other thought on that. I'm good friends with Kai, one of the lead folks on ESLint, and he's talked about like figuring out ways to contribute more to Node. So that could be a way to sort of bridge the gap if we want to do some stuff with ESLint, and if he could get involved with us and we could work together. And
I think that's a really good idea, because that's worked really well for TC39, where they've asked people from Babel to join so that Babel can track the new features that are coming into the language.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a good precedent for that, like having someone from ESLint who could help us make sure we communicate changes to the platform out to the community would be brilliant.
Yeah. So I'll talk to Kai. It's funny that you mentioned Babel, and Kai's a part of Babel as well, but Henry and Kai, I used to manage both of them at Adobe. So it's cool. Yeah. And they were both kind of, I don't want to say junior or new or something, but they were kind of, they were fresh back then, and it's great to see how far both of them have come. They're really good.
Now they're jaded veterans.
Yeah, exactly. Henry's amazing.
Yeah.
So is there precedent for that though in ESLint for recommending against essentially packages? Is that
we've talked about this, yeah.
Because like the other option here is like actually just to be throwing that warning or potentially adding that to makederp itself, since there's an established relationship with us potentially. Yeah. Unless the mapping isn't like 100%, like the feature set that was copied over isn't 100%, that might be a reason why not to do that. But
Yeah, I mean, the trick there is you need like buy-in from whoever maintains the package.
Yeah.
In the make derp case, we maybe have. I don't think that's going to be universally the case.
I don't think we really do on McDirt because I think James Halliday, he wasn't like unsupportive, but he wasn't super excited about us pulling McDirt in really.
Yeah, there was
yeah.
And I can't remember if it was MakeDerp or something else where we actually asked about this, like, hey, would you be willing to print like a deprecation warning? And I again, I don't remember if it was him or a different package.
Oh, it's MakeDerp Isaac?
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was Substack.
It was something else then. It was a Substack project, and he basically just said, like, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, I mean,
Substack gives some of its, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say the ESLint thing is maybe another option. I mean, the nice thing there, right, is that it's like we would be adding a rule that does that. You don't have to use that rule. You know, I think maybe arguing to get that rule added to the default rule set might be another matter. But I think just, you know, giving the option doesn't seem that objectionable to me.
I agree. I think Darcy brings up a fair point that we should be cognizant of people's feelings while we do it, though, so we're not like someone's like.
It does feel like subverting like the package maintainer or like superseding like their interests. Whereas like I totally understand if we think that that's like a code smell and that's like a recommendation we want to be making is like stop using this, and then ESLint or there's like I don't know what kind of plugin then would be created ESLint plugin to like enforce that rule, but I think that also like working with the maintainer to say, hey, like I think this is a better option. It sounds like if I remember correctly, and this is I think maybe a couple of years back now, the discussion with Isaac was actually pretty productive, and we were able to copy MakeDerp pretty much very closely.
That was RimRaf. And Isaac was super productive. Yeah, I think McDerp was Substack, so I'm guessing Substack maybe handed some of his dependencies over to Isaac at some point. It might be what happened.
Okay.
And I like where you're coming from, Darcy. I just wonder if maybe the thing to do is to reach out to like a maintainer like Isaac and see if they'd be willing to opt into the ESLint rule, and then never add an ESLint rule that directs people away from a package if we don't have buy-in from the maintainer that we're doing so. Like just make sure we've had that communication with them.
Yeah, it's just like then you require like that a project's using ESLint, right? So like it doesn't. I don't know if you get the same impact like versus like a post install script that could be running to check your like node for the node version and say, hey, like this node version actually supports. It's like a deprecation warning almost, like that. Like there's now this other way of using this kind of tooling. Like you should use the native. Like you don't need us. Like a post install script almost would be perfect for that, right? Like a warning, printing a warning like that.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually like probably the better option if we can make that happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Plus, I think having some different layers of, you know, things here might not be the worst either.
The nice thing about ESLint is you can actually have it fix your code. So you could have it like actually have a recommendation where it's like switch mcderp-sync to fs.rimwrap.sync or something, right?
So
that can be
we
cool.
can do both.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I think like, that's kind of where I was coming from. Is why not both? And I think in both cases, like obviously, like we don't want to, like you said, damage the ecosystem or like cause, you know, hurt the feelings of people who put hours and hours of their work into these packages. I'd happily add a suggestion to Yarg's parser that you just use Node's built-in one. But well,
I
probably
think
not from the command line.
Yeah. There's going to be still a lot to top up, I think, in terms of like argument parsers or libraries. There's still going to be like lots of room for like UX that is not going to be completely settled by the work that we're doing.
Well, I don't want to talk it up too much, but I think Yarg 17 is going to be the greatest version of Yargs ever made.
Can't wait.
I released of that today. I was on the version page.
Yeah.
So
like that, but sorry, what was that, Darcy?
So that's a mic drop. I mean, I don't think we could.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the meeting. Okay. No, I've been working way too much on Yarg 17 over the last 6 months. Like I decided I wanted to solve the asynchronous behavior problem, which turned out to just be a rabbit hole of hundreds of issues. So I've been like just cranking on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like, but I think it's going to work really well. I've refactored. I was looking at the code and it was so hideous. I refactored into a class. I was like, screw it. I completely refactored the whole code base. It's probably going to break hundreds of people. In weird ways. I don't know, but that's
Which could be a good, that could be a good, when you break them, you can just say, just use the arg parser, the parse args from.
Exactly. You wouldn't have this problem if you weren't using it. All right. Well, I'm excited to be back in this. I guess we can end the regular scheduled meeting there, and excited to be back in the swing of things. And it sounds like we have some fun stuff in the works. So I'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
Yep.
If anyone's watching on, I was going to say, if anyone's watching on YouTube, feel free to join the actual meeting if you have feedback for us, which is also on the issue on the Node repo. So
yeah, we had a couple of people say hello at least, so that's nice. What else was I going to say? I don't remember, so it doesn't matter. Cool. See y'all on Slack. See you next time.